Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 139 of Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, brought to you by Solozo. Today, we're talking more about branding, and Chris and I are super excited. We've got Jason Landro on with us from Nectar. Jason, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, we're excited to have you. We're excited. You're gonna share your screen later. We're gonna talk about examples. We got everything. This is gonna be really, really good. So we're excited to hear all about it. But before we do that, for anybody who's listening that doesn't know you, doesn't know Nectar, you got the floor. We'd love to hear your background, sort of how you got into this space, and then what you're doing now with Nectar.
Yeah. So, just for reference, Nectar is an Amazon marketing agency. We specialize in full account management, really for brick and mortar retailers who are looking for a plug and play solution for Amazon that might not have really the internal marketing team and resources to scale on Amazon. But we also work with some larger private label sellers. And I actually got into this. I'm actually a lawyer. By training, education, experience. Now I get to say I'm a recovering lawyer. And my friend from law school and his brother, who are now my business partners, they made a farmhouse lighting brand from scratch. That they were making the lights in the U.S., cutting the wood with the CNC, assembling the lights, selling them on Amazon, and it really took off. And about 3.5 years ago, my friend and now business partner Dan from law school came to me and said, "Hey, my brother and I were crushing it. We want to do more. Come join us." So I did, and one of the first things we did was we started another company to sell kits of food on Amazon. And we were a little too confident at first. We picked unhealthy snacks and heavy competition, and we lost a lot of money on that first product. A lot of people, they tell their success stories and they gloss over the losses, but we lost $20,000, $30,000 on that first product. But we came back and said, you know what? One of my partners and I were doing keto at the time. Really like keto snacks. There's nothing on the market that's good offering. So we put it together. We got a really good variety box together, and it took off. We started adding some other products, and these suppliers are saying, "Hey, how are you ordering so much from us? You're ordering what some of these national supermarket chains are ordering from us." They knew we were selling it on Amazon, and they said, "Hey, can you take a look at our account? Can you help us on Amazon, selling our own product?" And one of the companies was doing about $5,000 a month. In 3 months, we got them to $60,000 a month, and so it just took off. And we realized that we had something, and so that was the origin of our agency, which is today Nectar. We really place an emphasis on branding, consistency, and branding, and we really invest in that marketing flywheel. It's really the secret to our secret sauce.
Let's go back to that failure. I want to get into that a little bit, like 30, 25, 30K. So back up, you were selling like snacks, unhealthy snacks, like as a bundle?
Yes, as a variety bundle. Yep. And the irony was, I remember one time randomly, Ben Cummings showed off on his podcast. He's like, "Hey, this is a great example of how you show value in a variety pack." And he picked out this unhealthy snack box with Rice Krispie treats and pretzels, potato chips. And he picked ours randomly and saying we did a great job on the main image. Little did he know we were just getting crushed in sales. But so it was too competitive. There were already sellers with tons of reviews, and then there was a shelf life problem. And Amazon was changing the requirements at the time. We kind of got trapped in that, so it was a disaster.
And then you transitioned into more of like a healthy, like keto options.
Yeah, and so one of the big things, we get a lot of our clients have a lot of money, so they'll say, "Oh, I'll just start this brand or that brand." We go, "Hold on, wait a minute. What do you know about selling this or selling that?" "Oh, weighted blanket. Somebody told you that's a great idea." "Okay, well, stop. What do you know about making a weighted blanket? What do you know about bedding in general?" And that's that's where we learned that lesson. You need to be passionate about the product. You need to be able to offer something that really, is a differentiator in some way, right? Otherwise, you're just a commodity, and that you need your brand to stand out. And one of the we were doing keto, so we understood what the pain points were, understood the different types of keto diets, and so our box was directed to the people doing kind of net carb ketos, where you do a little calculation of carbs and fiber, which is people who are really intense on keto say that's dirty keto. But even within that, we were able to offer something of value to those people.
Yeah, I like that. I like the whole story just because I think when you talk about failures, that's so helpful to other people. Mm-hmm. You may not have gotten to where you got with keto if the previous venture hadn't have had struggles, and you learned shelf life issues on Amazon. That's not something you even think about hardly when you're getting started, or that it's not going to move. And I mean, Chris and I we're pretty open with mistakes we've made all the time on this podcast, just because that is a really good way to learn and to help others advance and show that you've got perseverance to push through, for sure. But I want to touch on another point that you brought up in your story, is talking about how your agency's really focused on brick and mortar stores who now need to have an online presence. I mean, that's an interesting subset, and certainly the pandemic made that quicker. You got to get on now because the brick and mortar wasn't going to work for months or whatever. And that's an interesting consumer because they're very involved in or customer for you. I mean, they're so involved in like the traditional business model of retail, and on Amazon, it's very, very different.
Yeah.
So it's interesting just how those conversations that you have with your clients go when you're trying to explain to them things like the Amazon flywheel and moving up the rankings organically and spending, advertising up front at a loss maybe to gain traction. It's really interesting, I'm sure, those conversations that you have.
Yeah. And one of the biggest obstacles that we encounter is content creation. A lot of their content is geared towards a physical or paper catalog, which doesn't translate well to Amazon. So for many of our clients who their key accounts are Walmart or Target or major Home Depot, brick and mortar retailers, we have to walk them through how to retake their photography so that their main image is taking up 80-85% of the frame, and in the foreground, not in the background. We have to coach them on how to do all of that so we can put our best foot forward before we even get to doing the things like organic rank and boosting it up. So we've definitely learned a lot about those nuances that don't necessarily translate one-to-one between brick and mortar retail and e-commerce. But those things make all of the difference.
We didn't touch on this earlier, but Nectar's an agency, and our audience is sellers. Why would sellers need an agency? Like, what does an agency give a seller that they may benefit from? Like, what's the purpose?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I want to kind of answer that broadly and come in to a more focused answer. I'm a big proponent of you need to know how to operate your business before you can start delegating work. So if you're just getting started, you should work in your business and you should understand the ins and outs. Unfortunately, on Amazon, it requires so many different areas of expertise between graphic design, SEO and copywriting, advertising management, and operations. And the skill sets to deal with those 4 different things are so diverse. So it can be a little tough, and you'll have some growing pains in outsourcing some of the work. I can't do a thing on Photoshop. I would never be able to do any graphic design. I'd have to outsource it. But it's good to know. When I was a lawyer, I knew how to make copies on the copy machine. Believe it or not, there were a lot of lawyers in my firm that did not. I knew how to do my administrative assistant's job, and I'm a big proponent of that. But then when you start to get bigger, you have to work on your business instead of working in your business. And as I mentioned before, Amazon is very resource intensive. It's the most mature third-party marketplace. It's been around the longest. It's had the most development. So an agency can really come in and support you in scaling. If you have hundreds or thousands of products, it can be really hard.
I think we might have lost him, Chris.
I think you're right.
That's
right.
all
We'll see if we get him back up. I think he's talking about the importance of having an agency where you can delegate some of those things off your task and off your plate so that the agency can do it and you can focus on better things.
Yeah. I mean, and that's something that you and I talk about all the time. Hey, Jason,
There
you
it
back?
is.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So you were talking about like you learned the process of your business. I'll let you take it from there.
And then delegate.
Yeah, and so as you scale up on Amazon, you have hundreds of SKUs, or maybe you have more than 50. It can be really tough to crank out all that content optimization without assistance, and that's where an agency can come in. You can, a lot of the Amazon agencies in the space charge in a way where they're incentivized to grow your sales. That's where they make their money, and that's how we charge, so that they can make more money as you make more money.
Sure.
As opposed to spending potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in overhead to staff advertising, full-time graphic design, copywriting operations.
This is a concept that Chris and I talk about a lot. Slows is a advertising automation platform, and the people that have the best expectations and understand the value of what the system is doing are people that have spent a little bit of time in the trenches on PPC. If you know it, then once you see, then it's time to delegate it because you'll have a clear expectation sort of what's possible, what it's going to cost, the amount of work that's actually being done and saved from you. I think it's a pretty good approach that you bring up, that it's good to know, like dive in and actually work on your business, but then start delegating it out.
Yeah.
Let's now talk about branding. Because I think you come at it from a unique perspective as taking, like a lot of your clients that you said, they're existing brands, but they've been basically promoting to buyers, not consumers, a lot of their products. And so what are the steps that you're taking to sort of create a cohesive, consistent brand? What are the elements that it takes for that?
Yeah. So the first thing that you need to figure out is who's your audience. Fortunately, a lot of the companies that we work with have invested some money and time into market research and branding and are a little more mature. I know that's often not the first step for many private label Amazon sellers, but there are great tools that even Amazon gives you to start you off on that research with brand analytics, the demographic information, the market basket analysis. There are really a lot of great tools in brand analytics to understand who your audience is, right? So if your audience is heavily women, your branding is going to be very different in terms of the colors, style, fonts than it would be if it's heavily men. Or you could have a product for kids, but who's buying it, right? So you need to show that you're a children's brand, but if it's all middle-aged moms, then you need to also incorporate an element that speaks to them. So first, it's understanding who your audience is, and then the next step is to tailor your branding to that audience. And the third step is to make sure that your branding is consistent across Amazon. And the thing I say all the time is e-com is so different than a physical store because the customers don't get to walk into the store and pick up your product on the shelf and feel how heavy it is and see its thickness and assess the quality, which is almost like a sixth sense, right? You can tell if something's cheap or not when you're handling it. On Amazon, customers don't have that luxury. They have to look at the quality of the aesthetic that you put in front of them and rely on customer reviews. So the big thing for us is when we're in our sales process, we assess, is the product, line appropriately priced, and is it a quality product? Those are two things as an agency we can't control. We can make recommendations about how to improve the product or the price, but we can't control at the end of the day those two things. And we walked away from opportunities because they were too expensive or the products stunk. And so if you've got those two things in check, then you should be able to present an aesthetic that is consistent with your price point and differentiates you from your competitors.
Do you think early on, like when you talk about your keto product or keto brand that you launched, do you think that since you yourself were actually the ideal customer for this product, since you were into keto at the time, that gave you a huge upper hand in creating branding and a narrative that was attractive to the ideal customer versus what you were doing before?
Yeah, I think it helped us identify or create a product that was of value because we understood what was currently being offered in the marketplace and how we could improve upon it. And that's why we were able to supplant. There were two other bestsellers at the time, and we ended up overtaking them. And it's because we created a box that was actually cheaper, you got more snacks, and our branding was better. So yes, definitely. We understood what the consumer wanted, and now we've kind of built that approach in our agency and we actually have a whole branding part of our onboarding process where we really download our clients, customer avatar and understand how to market to them, because it's that important.
So let's talk about some examples. Yeah, I know that you want to share your screen at some point and show us some of this. Let's talk about why don't you? I'll let you take the floor here, and I'll try to narrate a little bit for anybody who's listening on the podcast. But if you're watching live, Jason's sharing his screen right now, and let's go through what you want to talk about here, Jason.
Yeah, I'll try to narrate as well. This is giving me flashbacks of being in court and trying to describe for the what's going on. Yeah, so here, this is one of our clients. Some of our clients are okay with us showing off their work. This is one of them, and I'll show another one as well. We have some clients who want us to keep it confidential, but this is Orange Circle Studio. They make dated stationery for women. They have a really fun vibe, as you can see from just above the fold with some of these planner covers. So first of all, we have this. We're making it clear who the brand is, right? I know it sounds overly simple, but I come across stores sometimes where there's not even the brand name or anything about the business above the fold. Am I in the right place? I don't know. Because you also have to keep in mind that there are a million Amazon associate links out there. You don't know how people are getting to your store. They're not just getting to your store because they click on a store spotlight ad or they click on your brand name on the listing. There's a myriad of ways they can land on your store. And then, the biggest thing that we do is try to make products have some to organize the store, to make it really easy to find what you're looking for, right? You don't want to send consumers down this complex shopping path. If they know in general, they have an idea of what they're looking for when they come on your store, you should make it easy to make it easy for them to find it. I analogize to software. If you have to spend 10 clicks to get where you need to go in a software, you're not going to use that software. Stores should be the same approach. You should be able to get where they need to go within a couple clicks. So for this category, the way people buy planners is more or less by the format. So you have weekly, monthly, wall, and desktop. So that's how we've organized them. And then they have individual collections. We've actually chosen to break out sub-pages with each collection based on store spotlight ads. So here, the terms for the weekly planners are very different than the monthly planners. So by having 3 sub pages, we can run targeted ads based on those keywords, as opposed to running store spotlight ads for, weekly planners, monthly planners, and desktop calendars, because the keywords that customers use to search for them are very different between those three. And then in terms of the branding, everything is consistent, right? So we went with a really fun vibe. Again, this brand is for women, so we have light floral colors, but it also, if you go on the store, you'll see that just their covers are very vibrant. They have flowers or a lot of character. And we also made it really easy to get to the products. So a lot of what we see is, customers want to see the options and buy right away. So don't make it hard. I'll go in stores where it'll link to a different subpage and then link back. Don't reduce the friction, make it easy. And make it easy again for people to get where they want to go once they've seen a little bit. So here we're just showing off the categories and then some examples of what sells, right? So we know what people want, and in general, we try to put our best foot forward with those best sellers. And Store Insights is a fantastic tool to figure out how to optimize your store and what subpages you should be building and what products you should be featuring. But all this creative we build is custom with these banners. And then when you click in to these desktop calendars, you'll see that the branding is consistent, right? The colors are the same as they were on the homepage. The blocking is the same. And I'm having some slow internet today. Sorry, it's taking a while to load.
The text are all the same. Everything is
And if we go on to this page, you'll see that when we look at these infographics, a lot of people want to know, how big is this, right? The text is the same, the colors are the same, right? So there's consistency in branding as you go from each product, right? So again, when we go to the A+, the colors are the same, the branding's the same. We have a lot of the unique features. We actually optimize A+ content for mobile. We're cross-selling here with related products. One of the big things that I see people do in A+ content is they put too much information. Do you want to read? You want to do homework while you're shopping? No. You want it to be easy. You want to answer your main questions and make it easy. One of the reasons I don't like shopping online is because sometimes I feel like I go down this funnel of or get lost in a rabbit hole of options, and I just want to know, what is the best thing in the price range that I'm looking for, and does it solve my problems, right? And so that's really where people can get lost in A+ content, is just going into way too much detail. So yeah, again, it's all about being consistent in the branding and making sure you're answering the common questions.
This is a really nice store product page. All that, like, it gives me trust. Like, if I need a planner, this brand has taken the time to create their message. I mean, you're right. It's very consistent colors. I don't get confused. I'm not like getting caught off guard with like different text or different colors. Like, it's very, very similar. The flow is good. The funnel's good. Are you guys driving traffic to the storefront using PPC? Like, how's that working out?
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of different things. So we're driving traffic to this Amazon store. We're using store spotlight ads. We're actually even running Google ads on this account from off Amazon. And obviously Amazon rewards you sending traffic from off Amazon onto Amazon because they make more money. And you pay for it. So we're using a lot of different approaches. We've really started doing Amazon posts more and more. We can see it can be a little inconsistent. We try to mix up new products with older products. We see randomly that the posts will just take off and get tens of thousands of views on certain accounts, but we haven't really figured out the secret sauce yet, and it seems like Amazon's still building out posts. But Amazon is heavily investing in stores. everything from the follow button. Well, I should say that they've created a little mini flywheel. The object of posts are to get you to the store. Then they want you to follow the store. And then once you follow the store, now you can email followers through customer engagement. Currently, it's only for new products, but I think Amazon's going to build that out more and more.
Is that an area you guys have dabbled in with the email?
Yeah, so the followers are relatively new. So a lot of the stores, a lot of our stores have high hundreds or low thousands of followers. So I think it's going to take some more time before we really start to see a bigger lift as a result. But it's a trend that we see Amazon going in with releasing all these new resources that are connected to the store. We're kind of waiting for them to. They haven't really updated how you can build stores for a long time, so I'm optimistic they'll improve that functionality relatively soon as well.
Do you have any little tips or tricks, things that you do to increase the number of followers you get? Are you guys doing anything to increase that following? Because I know people have to actually click the button.
Yep.
You got to get them there first.
We've done some things where it points to the follow button. We haven't seen any meaningful difference.
Okay.
I also think, quite frankly, Amazon needs to do a better job of promoting what that means. I think they're trying to figure that out, to be honest, in terms of informing the consumers, hey, if you follow the store, this is what you'll get. I think I received one marketing email about it from Amazon. So because they're investing in all these things that are connected to the store, I expect them to push that more and in a better way.
Got it.
So I'm going to echo Chris, what we've been looking at, and for everybody who's listening, I mean, it is very consistent, cohesive. We went through their storefronts, to their listings, to their images, A+ content, posts. Everything has the same theme, fonts, colors. It really does. I mean, this is a way I feel like e-commerce sellers can make themselves look like huge brands from the past. Because you'd see that with like a Nike or something like that, where everything is cohesive. My question to you is, where do you start? Okay, a brand comes to you. Obviously, there is a lot of planning and layout before you're making one picture, one font. Because I can imagine the worst thing that happens is you start working on all this, and then you're like, oh, we should change the theme a little bit. And now you've got hundreds of pictures and everything. You got to go change everything. So what is that like? What's the first thing? Your voice, color, what is it that you're going for? And then building off of.
So I referenced earlier, we have a whole process where we do actually a series of branding calls with our new clients. We also build stores on a project basis. So sometimes people come to us and say, hey, build out my store. We do the same thing. So they have a series of meetings. They fill out some questionnaires. If they don't have a style guide, we actually build one for them so that we're all on the same page in terms of, hey, what does your brand look like? What are the colors? What are the hex codes for the colors? What are the primary colors, secondary colors? So we get that locked in. We ask for examples of what they like. What do they want their brand to look like? So we make sure we understand their vision as best as we can. And we also communicate some initial rough drafts to make sure that we're going in the right direction. Because early on, we made the mistake that you're talking about one too many times. Actually, more than once is one too many times. And we made it many times where we'd get pretty far along and a lot of stuff wasn't right or wasn't what the brand envisioned. So we really went back and systematized our process to make sure that we were on the same page, as much as possible from Jump Street. And obviously, if you're on the flip side and you want it to get done quickly and efficiently, it behooves you to make sure that you're communicating clearly and being on the same page with your service provider so that you don't have to waste time going back and fixing things.
When you're doing post, because I know this is still kind of a newer area. I mean, it's been out for a while, but people are still trying to figure it all out. Is there like a schedule, or can you just throw a whole bunch of posts together at once and kind of like spray and pray, or do you need to do like 2 at a time, 2 a day, 3 a day? Is there something that you got to do?
You can schedule them out, so you can do them in advance, which is nice. Amazon just doesn't release a lot of data on them yet. I think they're testing where they appear. I have a sneaking suspicion that they'll eventually try to monetize posts.
Yeah.
They don't release any sales related data, just engagement data, like views or impressions, views, some of the click data, I think, but no sales. So they took it out of beta and rolled it out to everyone in brand registry. So that usually means they're committed to it. And I think right now it's free, so you have really nothing to lose. But yeah, we see, like, we've had accounts where we get 40,000 clicks on a post, and then the next post it's like a couple hundred. And like, what is the?
How'd that happen?
Yeah.
What about, okay, so I like to keep going back to this flow of how you set things up. So once you've sort of established your theme, your overall theme, colors, font, once you've done that, what area are you attacking first? Are you like making sure like the packaging and the product itself fits that brand that you're creating? And then does it go listing and then storefront, or are you working backwards? What's the order that you lay this out, this branding out?
So that's a great question. I'm a big proponent, and our agency operates this way, of the 80-20 rule. The 20% of your SKUs, or even lower on Amazon, will drive 80% or more of your revenue. And so that you should really focus your efforts there first. And to me, that means you should focus on above the fold on the product detail page. So your main image, your titles, your secondary image, all the way through your all the rest of your images and your copy, right? Because you need to get people to click into your listing, and then what they see is above the fold, whether that's on mobile or desktop, and you want to give them the confidence to purchase. So that's where I would suggest putting the resources first if you have to make a choice, because that should give you the most return the fastest. And I would focus on the top tier of your catalog as well, because it can be, it can double the time to do your, or triple the time to do your whole catalog. If you focus on the top 20%, you can spend less money, you can get it done faster, and it's going to have an outsized impact compared to everything else.
And then you move on to the storefronts and the A+ and all that.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, this is.
And then also depends, like we have stores that are doing 6 figures a month, Amazon stores, just from the store traffic, as you can see the attribution in store insights. So, it also depends where we get the account, and whether it's in season, out of season. So oftentimes we have a strategy call in the beginning, and we figure out how do we prioritize the work. But I think as a general rule, you want to make sure that people are clicking into your listings and have the basic information and confidence they need to purchase. And once you've done that, then you need to assess, okay, am I getting a lot of traffic on my store? Well, if not, then why would you focus there first? You want to clean up the product detail pages. If you are, then maybe you focus on the store. So I think you have to put all the factors out there and weigh them a little bit, but try to take a pragmatic approach.
Do you also help out with like their own websites and their social media marketing? I'm assuming obviously you want all that content branded in the exact same way and the same messaging.
Yes. So we've been very fortunate to grow and have a lot of success, and a lot of our clients really liked what we were doing on Amazon and asked us to do more. So we've actually this year started to build out websites, manage all the traffic from Google, social media marketing, Pinterest, email marketing. So it's a newer initiative for us, but one that we're very, very excited about as well. and it, between Amazon and the proprietary website, those can be the two biggest drivers on e-com typically. So it's exciting for us to be able to have more control of the flywheel and kind of using Amazon as a lead gen to pull people to the website.
Who do you find is your ideal customer? Like, who's your ideal Amazon seller? Somebody that needs help and they don't really know it. They just need somebody in their corner with them. Who's your ideal customer there?
So that's funny. It's those people are actually harder to sell because they don't understand the value. Mm-hmm. I would say it's two main factors. One, it's companies that they're established. For us, we charge a base fee and then get commission as we grow the sales. And early on, we weren't able to do that. We just charged straight commission. We had to bet on ourselves. We were new, and we ran into what's called a moral hazard problem, where people weren't incentivized to pay attention. So if it wasn't a priority, they didn't give us the inventory. They didn't, they just didn't do the bare minimum, and we couldn't grow the sales. So now we like to work with companies that they're committed. They want to make Amazon work. They're willing to dedicate the inventory. And then we find that we're a really good plug and play solution because we cover all of those bases. A lot of Amazon agencies are just focused on advertising, or they have a pretty small team, so they can only handle so much. We like to work with companies where they've got their product figured out, they've got the retail distribution figured out, but they don't really know much about marketing. And a lot of them have tried their hand at Amazon, but just haven't gotten anywhere. So they understand that it's a lot of work. So we don't have to convince them that all this work we're doing is of value. That could definitely be a disconnect for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. They don't understand actually how much work it is.
There's a lot of companies out there just like that, mm-hmm. that you're describing, your ideal customer, where they're not in that Amazon space yet, but they have their client base. They've got, good distribution. There's a lot out there right now. It's good. So on that note, for anybody who's listening to this right now, that's in that position, that likes what they hear, that loves, I really did like that example you showed. Yeah, that was slick all the way through. There's so much work involved in that. Like, it looks like, oh, you showed us 4 pages of stuff, but there's so much work that goes into designing and developing what you laid out there. So anybody who's listening that would like to work with you, let them know how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah. So feel free to submit an inquiry on our website. It's www.think, like think about it, nectar, nectar.com. You can also contact me, Jason at thinknectar.com. We got beat out by the mattress brand, I think, on nectar.com. So I'm going to get a little creative.
I like that though. Think Nectar. That's good. And we'll put that link in the show notes as well, and the descriptions everywhere else. But I encourage everyone who's listening, if you're in that position right now, definitely reach out to Jason and the team at Nectar. Jason, we got to get you back on again. That was really fun to talk about that. That was a unique look at the full scope of branding. And now that we know you wear a lot of hats, so you do a lot more than just that. So we'd love to have you on. We could talk about anything Amazon. We love it. So
yeah, let's do it.
We'll get you back on. But yeah, thanks for joining us. That was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Cool. Well, everyone listening, go check him out at thinknectar.com for sure. We'll have him back on for another good time. And also, if you're listening and you like content like this, you like to hear cool new concepts, cool people like Jason talking about how to do better in this e-commerce world, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you like to listen to us on. If you'd rather watch us as we go live or watch the recorded videos, you can follow us on Solozo's Facebook page, Solozo's LinkedIn page, and the Solozo YouTube channel. Subscribe to those as well. Like us, turn on notifications so you get notified when we go live. And you'll see all this content that we are putting out. Additionally, if you're selling on Amazon right now and you're struggling with your PPC and you'd like an automated solution, go to Solozo.com right now. You can book a demo. You'll get either Chris or I on that call. We'll show you how Solozo can help you optimize your advertising and talk about anything at all about Amazon. If you need help with your branding, we're going to send you straight to Jason.
Go to Jason.
And then you come back and we'll talk about advertising. But anyway, everyone make sure you do that. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us, Jason. We'll see everybody next time. Have a